For thousands of years, cultures across the world believed dreams held messages from gods, warnings about the future, and hidden truths about our psyche. Yet today, we write them off as nonsense. Why has modern society dismissed what ancient civilizations revered as sacred? The answer might just change how you see your own mind. In today's video, we'll explore the fascinating history of dreams, uncovering how ancient cultures treated them as profound messages with the power to guide, heal, and connect. Imagine a world where the flickering images of your dreams weren't dismissed as random, meaningless thoughts. Instead, they were messages sent across a sacred bridge, connecting you to divine realms or spiritual places beyond your waking life. For ancient civilizations, that's exactly what dreams represented. They weren't just private experiences. They were windows into something far greater. They were deeply respected, even feared, as tools of revelation and guidance, woven directly into the fabric of survival and spirituality. The belief in the sacred nature of dreams stretches as far back as recorded history. Early humans, trying to make sense of the mysteries around them, turned to their dreams to answer the unanswerable. To them, dreams weren't confined to the chaotic activity of the mind or a reflection of daily life. They were messages, riddled with symbols and signs, from divine forces or ancestors who had passed on. Dreams were thought to contain instructions, paths to follow, omens for the future, or advice in times of uncertainty. When you live in a world without modern technology, where threats to survival are constant, and the environment itself can feel like an unpredictable force, dreams offered a unique kind of clarity. They filled the gaps where logic or knowledge fell short. Take ancient Mesopotamia, for example. As early as 3000 BCE, their leaders placed immense significance on dream interpretation, often recording them on wax tablets that archaeologists have found preserved through the ages. These weren't casual bedtime recollections. They were treated as critical insights into the future. Think about the level of trust that this suggests. Rulers would consult dreams for advice before making crucial decisions, believing that divine powers communicated directly to them this way. The very act of preserving these dream accounts speaks to how structured and deliberate their interpretations were. It wasn't just a spiritual exercise, it was woven into governance and survival. These early beliefs didn't only anchor themselves to societal decision-making, but extended into the personal experience of each individual. Dreams could represent journeys into the spirit realm, a place that was otherwise inaccessible while awake. This idea wasn't just a poetic metaphor for introspection. It was taken quite literally. Indigenous cultures such as the Australian Aboriginal peoples stand out in this perspective. Their belief in the dream time doesn't simply position dreams as an individual experience. Instead, dreaming is considered the essence of reality itself. In this worldview, the past, present, and future are all interlinked, and it's through dreams that the universe was and continues to be created. The dream time isn't some abstract concept. It is life's blueprint, connecting all beings through stories, symbols, and sacred meaning. Now compare this kind of reverence for dreams to how they're often treated today. Ancient humans saw dreaming as a form of guidance, as vital as food or water. Yet modern life, brimming with distractions and explanations for everything, has relegated dreaming to the realm of harmless quirks or subconscious noise. There's no ritual to interpret our dreams when we wake up. Instead, many of us dismiss them as meaningless or too weird to bother with. And that disconnect That indifference clashes sharply with the ancient view, raising important questions. Could we be missing something? Is it possible that dreams carry more weight than we give them credit for? Even for those who weren't rulers or priestly dream interpreters, dreams impacted everyday life in profound ways across countless cultures. In ancient Greece, the significance of dreams is unmistakable. Dreams were believed to carry messages from the gods themselves. A perfectly balanced culture of myth, philosophy, and religion meant that every aspect of life was viewed through a lens of both reason and divine interconnection. Dreams fell somewhere in the middle. The Greeks formalized their belief in the vitality of dreams through figures like Morpheus, the god of dreams, who had the power to shape and control them. Dreams could forewarn of disaster, predict fortune, or even provide hints about solutions to problems. They weren't merely taken at face value, though. The Greeks carefully distinguished between different types of dreams. Ordinary ones might reflect your thoughts or feelings, while other, prophetic dreams came directly from the divine, revealing truths that couldn't be found anywhere else. The importance of dreams extended beyond Europe. In ancient Egypt, there's evidence to support some of the most elaborate practices centering around them. Here, dreaming wasn't just spiritual, it was institutional. Egyptians built dream temples, sacred spaces where individuals could go to receive messages through their dreams. These temples weren't just passive places for sleeping. They included rituals designed to prepare the dreamer. Before lying down to sleep, people offered prayers or gifts to the gods, believing that such acts invited clearer communication. In many cases, priests would remain involved, interpreting these dreams and helping craft a course of action based on their meaning. This wasn't about predicting lottery numbers or frivolous insights. This was serious.
A healing dream could direct someone to a cure, or even imply divine intervention.
These spaces illustrate how dreams acted as a bridge between the individual and universal knowledge. Of course, practical survival also lingered in these beliefs. For many ancient peoples, dreams weren't only sources of divine wisdom, but also survival tools. Imagine relying not just on tools or allies, but on dreams to process your fears, prepare for dangers, or figure out where to find food or shelter. Dreams offered guidance in times of crisis, and the intensity of the real-world connection between humans and their environment made that guidance invaluable. Even thousands of years ago, dreams connected the personal to the larger world. They implied that we aren't isolated in our thoughts or experiences, but are part of something far greater, something that speaks to us if we're only willing to listen. Every single dream practice throughout history, from Aboriginal Dreamtime stories to Egyptian temples to Mesopotamian wax tablets, paints a picture of societies that trusted their subconscious minds as much as their conscious ones. Where does that leave us today? Rather than dismissing our dreams as unintelligible or random, maybe there's merit in taking a closer look. What if, like the ancients, we used our dreams to better understand ourselves? Could we reconnect with the wisdom, peace, or even warnings they might provide? As we continue through this video, we'll explore specific ways different cultures played out this belief in their practices, rituals, and symbols. Some may seem mystical, others surprisingly practical, but they all come back to one idea. For ancient humans, dreams were vital. They were sacred. They linked us to something larger than ourselves. And maybe, just maybe, that connection is something worth rediscovering today. What if there were actual places where you could go not just to sleep, but to dream with purpose, to heal, to find guidance, or even to connect with divine powers. In ancient Egypt, such places existed, and they were known as dream temples. These sacred spaces stood as a testament to the Egyptian belief that dreams were more than random thoughts. They were channels of communication with the gods, tools for prophecy, and even sources of physical and spiritual healing. Dream temples like those in the city of Memphis were not just functional spaces. They were sacred environments, carefully designed to encourage meaningful and vivid dreaming. They represented a kind of spiritual technology, a way to bring humans closer to the divine.
Incense burned to fill the air with an atmosphere of the sacred. Offerings of wine or bread symbolized gratitude, and specific prayers called upon divine beings to grant clarity and vision during sleep. The entire process was centered on creating a state of spiritual readiness. Inside the dream temples, priests played a critical role. They weren't just caretakers or guardians of the temple. They acted as interpreters of the divine. When a person woke after dreaming in these sacred spaces, the priests would carefully listen to the details of the visions and interpret their significance. In ancient Egyptian belief, dreams were rarely straightforward. They were filled with symbols, metaphors, and messages that required specialized knowledge to unravel. The priests had access to this knowledge, acting as intermediaries who could decode the cryptic language of the subconscious. It wasn't a casual exchange either. The interpretations provided by these priests could shape decisions, influence actions, and determine the dreamer's next steps in life. For the Egyptians, dreams held incredible weight, and the insights gained from a night in Dream Temple were thought to extend beyond personal matters. Often, the guidance people sought was far-reaching, involving community well-being or major life changes. A leader might sleep in the temple to receive direction before making political decisions, or healers might invoke visions for clues about curing an illness. These temples were not just places of introspection, they were centers of activity where divine wisdom was applied to real-world challenges. One account describes how an individual, after spending the night in a dream temple, received a vision of a specific herb that would cure their ailment. This wasn't isolated. Such stories reinforce how closely dreams were tied to ideas of healing and practical problem-solving. And yet, the temples didn't solely focus on individual healing. They reflected a broader Egyptian worldview, where dreams served to connect the physical and spiritual realms, binding communities together in a shared understanding of existence. This belief extended far beyond physical health. Dreams could reveal which deities were pleased or displeased, helping to guide rituals and offerings for the community. Divine approval was paramount to the Egyptians, and dreams were a way of maintaining that approval by interpreting the gods' wishes. But why did Egyptians place such importance on dreams? To them, the act of dreaming held spiritual power. It was one of the few times the soul could transcend the body and enter realms beyond the physical. This idea of crossing into divine spaces wasn't seen as abstract. It was deeply ingrained in their understanding of how the world worked. Sleep allowed the mind to let go of earthly concerns and become open to the kind of wisdom that simply wasn't accessible. Dreams were treated not as accidental occurrences, but as deliberate events orchestrated by higher powers. The dream temples themselves often reflected this spiritual purpose in their architecture and atmosphere. They were dimly lit spaces, often constructed partly underground, to create an otherworldly sense of detachment from the ordinary world. This physical separation mirrored the psychological shift that dreaming required.
a journey away from normal consciousness into something deeper. The temples were designed to be quiet and peaceful, allowing the dreamer's mind to focus and attune itself to the divine. Everything, from the layout of the space to the materials used, was meant to foster a sense of sacredness and connection. What's particularly striking is how seriously these practices were taken. Dream interpretation wasn't treated as superstition. It became central to Egyptian life in profound ways. Divinely granted dreams could justify major societal actions, validate political decisions, or resolve disputes. This reliance on dreams as a guiding force highlights how integrated they were in Egyptian culture, blending seamlessly with their religious beliefs and societal structure. Of course, this raises an interesting question. Why did such significant practices eventually disappear? The dream temples, once bustling with activity and revered as spiritual hubs, faded over time. The reasons are complex and tied to wider changes in Egyptian society. As religious beliefs shifted and new philosophical ideas appeared, the emphasis on divine intervention through dreams waned. Practical reasoning and different approaches to medicine likely took over, reducing the role of spiritual dream interpretation in decision-making and health. The changes weren't necessarily abrupt, but reflected a gradual distancing from the mystical ideas that had once defined Egyptian civilization. Still, it's impossible to ignore the enduring wisdom within their practices. By using dreams as tools for both personal and communal well-being, the Egyptians demonstrated their ability to integrate spiritual insight and practical living. Their approach suggests a way of thinking that's markedly different from today's, a belief that dreams were not just personal experiences, but communal and even cosmic ones. They blurred the line between the physical world and the spiritual, seeing dreams as a bridge that enriched the lives of individuals and society as a whole. In a modern context, Egyptian dream temples provide more than just a historical curiosity. They remind us that, at one point in history, people built entire systems around the belief that dreams could heal, guide, and uplift. Imagine what it would mean to treat your dreams with that level of respect. What might you learn? What clarity or insights could you gain? For the Egyptians, dreams were a pathway to self-discovery, one that connected them to each other, to the gods, and to something infinitely larger than themselves. Perhaps, by revisiting these ancient perspectives, we could uncover new ways to approach our own dreams, not just as fleeting nighttime experiences, but as valuable glimpses into a part of ourselves we often overlook. As we move on, it's worth considering how other cultures embraced similar ideas, each with their unique twist. While the Egyptians built temples to focus energy and intention into their dreams, other civilizations found ways to connect dreams with mythology, destiny, and deep spiritual truths. Each culture viewed dreams through its own lens, but they all returned to the same basic understanding. Dreams were meaningful and worth paying attention to. So how did the Greeks, with their immortalized god of dreams, Morpheus, approach the dream world in their own way? Let's step into the divine dreamscapes of ancient Greece and see how they compared. The Greeks worshipped Morpheus, the god of dreams, an intriguing figure who held the power to shape dreams and communicate the will of the divine. His name, meaning shape in Greek, reflects his ability to craft vivid human-like images that could speak directly to the dreamer. But why did the Greeks place such high regard on dreams, dedicating an entire deity to this mysterious aspect of life? To understand this, we need to look at how deeply dreams were woven into their mythology, philosophy, and everyday culture. For the ancient Greeks, dreams were more than personal experiences. They were thought to be direct messages from the gods. Morpheus, as one of the sons of Hypnos, the god of sleep, personified this sacred connection. He wasn't just a passive figure. He acted as a messenger, crossing the boundary between the divine and the human world to guide, warn, or inspire. To the Greeks, this wasn't just a comforting idea. It was a deeply held belief that shaped how they lived their lives. Dreams carried weight, often believed to reveal hidden truths or even predict the future. This idea elevated dreams far beyond the status of fleeting nighttime thoughts. They were essential tools, linking mortals to a higher order. The Greeks didn't simply lump all dreams together either. They placed careful attention into categorizing them, recognizing that not every dream had the same purpose. On one hand, there were ordinary dreams, the kind that might reflect daily concerns or inner thoughts. These were seen as a reflection of the self. This practice of oneomomancy, or dream interpretation, became an important way for the Greeks to seek guidance and answers, making dreams indispensable to both their spiritual and practical lives. Perhaps one of the most famous examples of the power of dreams in Greek culture comes from literature. In Homer's Iliad, dreams are pivotal to the story's unfolding. Gods like Zeus often appear in dreams to guide or manipulate mortals, influencing the course of wars and decisions. These dream moments weren't simply decorative. They drove the plot forward, reflecting how the Greeks understood the role of dreams in real life. The gods, through these dream sequences, displayed their power and will, reminding mortals of their place in the cosmos. A dream might provide a warning about an impending threat or offer insight into a crucial decision. The Greeks believed these divine interventions in dreams weren't accidental. They were deliberate, purposeful, and meant to be acted upon. The influence of dreams didn't stop with mythology and storytelling, though. It extended into Greek philosophy and even early medicine. Philosophers like Plato and Aristotle added layers of thought to the understanding of dreams, exploring their connection to the human psyche. Aristotle, for example, wrote about dreams as natural occurrences, but still believed they could hold value. He saw them as reflections of our mental and physical states, tying dreams to both reason and health. This balance, seeing dreams as both mystical and rooted in human nature, was distinctly Greek. They had the ability to view dreams not just as divine messages, but also as tools for introspection and understanding the mind. This duality gave dreams a unique status in their culture, resting at the crossroads of the spiritual and the scientific. In medicine, dreams played an instrumental role in healing practices. The famed cult of Asclepius, the god of healing, would often encourage dreams as part of their rituals. Temples dedicated to Asclepius functioned as both centers of worship and places of treatment. Here, individuals would undertake a ritual called incubation, intentionally sleeping within the temple to receive divine insight through dreams. It was believed these dreams could reveal remedies or treatments for ailments, provided directly by the gods. Priests acted as interpreters, much like in Egyptian dream temples, but the focus here was often on personal healing and emotional reconciliation. People trusted that their dreams could unlock the mysteries of their illnesses, blending spiritual belief with early medical practice. Figures like Socrates and Pythagoras even connected dreams to ethical or moral questions, emphasizing their potential to teach and guide people toward better lives. This emphasis on learning from dreams contributed to the Greeks' broader efforts to seek wisdom and self-awareness. But what's just as fascinating as their beliefs is how these dream practices influenced cultures that came after. The Greeks' careful categorization of dreams and their use of dreams as tools for prophecy and healing set the stage for later developments in Western thought. The idea that dreams could reveal something about the unconscious mind, long before Freud or Jung, traces its roots back to ancient Greek culture. Their understanding of dreams as both personal and cosmic experiences laid a foundation that echoed across centuries, influencing everything from medieval Christian dream theories to modern psychological dream analysis. Despite the passage of time, the Greeks' respect for the dream world still feels relevant. They saw dreams not just as chaotic or nonsensical, but as windows into truths we might not uncover otherwise. Whether they focused on divine prophecy or self-reflection, the Greeks treated dreams as important guides in their daily lives. This deep engagement reveals something universal about the human desire to understand our inner worlds, something that still resonates today. Their practices remind us that dreams were once seen as vital to both individual and societal well-being. They weren't ignored or dismissed. They were sought out, studied, and honored as powerful tools for connection and insight. It's hard not to wonder what we might gain if we approach dreams with the same level of curiosity and care. What could we learn about ourselves if we examined our dreams not as accidental fragments, but as meaningful experiences? As we look back, one thing becomes clear. Dreams in Greek culture were more than a nighttime escape. They were central to understanding life and destiny, offering a bridge between the mundane and the divine. This belief tied together every aspect of dreaming, from the myths of Morpheus to the healing rituals of the Asclepian temples. It wasn't just about decoding symbols or predicting the future. It was about understanding humanity's place in the universe. The legacy of Greek dream practices leaves us with an appreciation for how deeply dreams can touch every part of life. And yet, as impactful as their approach was, the Greeks weren't alone in viewing dreams this way. Other cultures too had their own profound ways of looking at dreams, some focusing on creation itself, seeing dreams as the very foundation of existence. Next, we'll explore one of the most cosmic interpretations of the dream world, how Aboriginal Australians view dreaming as inseparable from the reality around us. What if dreams weren't just fleeting stories, but the very foundation of reality itself? For Australian Aboriginal peoples, dreams hold exactly that kind of significance. In their worldview, the dream time, also called the dreaming, is not merely a collection of myths or bedtime tales. It is the cornerstone of existence, an enduring and sacred concept that explains how the world was created, how it continues to function, and even how the past, present, and future are all connected. The line between dreams and reality, as we understand it today, simply doesn't exist in this belief system. The dream time is considered the moment of creation, a time before time when ancestral beings moved across the land, shaping it and establishing the laws of nature, culture, and life itself. These beings weren't ordinary figures. They were spirits, often represented through animals, plants, or human forms. Through their actions, the landscape was formed. Mountains, rivers, and stars were given shape and purpose, not randomly, but deliberately, to imbue the earth with order and meaning. These events were not confined to the distant past. The dream time is considered ongoing, existing simultaneously in the present and influencing the future, connecting all life in a continuous cycle of creation and renewal. Everything in the world, the environment, the animals, and the people, is tied together through this understanding. Dreamtime stories, which describe the journeys and actions of these ancestral beings, are much more than symbolic representations or moral teachings. They are living narratives that define Aboriginal people's relationship to the land, their spirituality, and their place within the world. These stories are passed down through generations, not as casual tales, but as sacred knowledge to be honored and remembered. They guide how people live, emphasizing harmony with the land and respect for its resources. The Dreamtime's cyclical nature, where time flows endlessly back into itself, means this knowledge never loses its relevance. It informs daily life, relationships, and decision-making in ways that resonate just as powerfully now as they did long ago. One widely known Dreamtime story is that of the Rainbow Serpent. According to this tale, the Rainbow Serpent traveled across the land, carving rivers, valleys, and mountains as it moved. It is said to have created waterways essential for life, and in doing so, brought balance to the world. But the Rainbow Serpent is not just a character from an ancient story. It is a symbol of fertility, power, and the interconnection between all living things. Specific sites associated with this figure, such as waterholes or rock formations, are considered sacred and are still used for ceremonies and rituals. These places are not just landmarks. They are physical manifestations of the Dreamtime's influence, reminders of the ancestral beings who shaped them. Another example involves the Wangina spirits, which are central figures in the creation stories of some Aboriginal communities. These spirits are said to have painted their images onto rock walls, establishing a connection between their actions during the Dreamtime and the physical world we see today. These images, maintained and preserved by Aboriginal people for thousands of years, are not simply art. They are sacred symbols that carry the power and presence of the Wangina. They help communities stay connected to the ancestral beings and reinforce the understanding that the Dreamtime is always alive. Dreaming in this context goes far beyond what most of us understand when we think of the word. It is not just about what happens at night when the mind drifts into sleep. Dreaming is an active central part of spiritual life and community practices. Through ceremonies, songs, and dances, Aboriginal people reenact the events of the Dreamtime, keeping the stories alive and maintaining their connection to the spiritual realm. These rituals often take place at sacred sites, where the power of the Dreamtime is thought to be strongest. By engaging in these communal acts, participants don't just remember their ancestors, they actively experience the presence of the Dreamtime, deepening their role in this ongoing cycle of creation and renewal. On a personal level, dreams are also seen as crucial sources of guidance and healing. Individuals might seek dreams or visions to help resolve problems, answer questions, or gain clarity about their lives. For example, a person might receive an image or message in a dream that suggests a course of action or reveals a hidden truth. These personal dream experiences are respected as much as the broader cultural stories, emphasizing the intimate and individual connection every person has to the dreaming. One of the most striking aspects of this worldview is how it contrasts with the way modern society treats dreams. Today, many of us view dreams as random or meaningless. They are often dismissed as bizarre fragments of thought that fade the moment we wake up. But to Aboriginal peoples, this couldn't be further from the truth. Dreams are a cornerstone of existence, tying the spiritual and physical together in ways that modern Western perspectives often overlook. The Dreamtime reminds us that the world is interconnected, that everything we do affects not only our lives, but also the larger cycles of life around us.
This is why sacred sites are treated with such reverence.
They're not just physical locations, but living embodiments of the Dreamtime, making them central to the culture and identity of Aboriginal communities. This perspective can feel deeply unfamiliar to those of us used to seeing time as linear, moving forward in a straight line from the past to the future. In the modern view, progress is often valued above all, sometimes at the expense of preserving traditions or respecting the natural balance. But the Dreamtime offers a radically different approach. By seeing time as cyclical and eternal, it fosters a sense of continuity and balance, encouraging people to think beyond themselves and consider their actions' impact on future generations. This mindset doesn't prioritize new over old or future over past. It weaves everything together in a single unified whole. The lessons embedded in Dreamtime stories are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. They teach the importance of respecting nature, understanding our place in the world, and valuing community and tradition. In a culture where connection is often scarce, whether it's connection to others, to the environment, or even to ourselves, you can see how the Dreamtime offers something modern life often struggles to provide: a sense of unity. Imagine for a moment if we embraced even a small part of this perspective. What if, instead of seeing dreams as nonsensical, we began to think of them as holding the potential for guidance or insight? What if we approached the natural world not as a resource to be used, but as something intertwined with our existence, demanding respect and care? It's clear that this ancient wisdom has much to teach us if we're willing to listen. The depth of Aboriginal beliefs about the Dreamtime challenges the way we see reality, offering a profound way of understanding ourselves and our place in the world. For them, dreaming is far more than private thoughts or subconscious wanderings. It's the foundation upon which everything is built, a living, breathing force that ties us to the land, to creation, and to one another. As we move forward, it's worth keeping these lessons in mind. While ancient Aboriginal beliefs emphasize the sacred and enduring significance of dreams, modern science has taken a very different approach, viewing them through the lens of biology and brain function. These contrasting views, one spiritual, the other scientific, illustrate just how diverse our understanding of dreams can be, and raise compelling questions about what dreams really mean. Highlight the complexity of dreaming as both a biological function and the deeply personal journey. As we move forward, it's worth considering not just what the brain is doing during REM sleep, but what we do with the dreams that come out of it. Could revisiting interpretive practices from ancient dream cultures lead to better self-awareness, even in a modern context? At the same time, how much weight should we place on scientific understanding versus personal experience? These questions remain unanswered, but they make one thing clear. Dreams are much more than a neurological curiosity. They're a bridge between what we know about the brain and what we understand about ourselves. As we wrap up this exploration of the mechanics of dreaming, it's important to note that science has given us incredible tools to understand the how of dreams, but hasn't yet found a way to explain their deeper significance. While the activation synthesis hypothesis and AIM model reduce dreams to brain signals, psychological approaches may offer a middle ground. Could the personal meaning we attach to dreams help us reconnect with some of the ancient beliefs that treated them as essential tools for well-being? Next, we'll look at how psychology, particularly through the work of Freud and Jung, began to bridge the gap between scientific theory and the artistry of interpreting dreams.
Are dreams the key to unlocking our deepest fears and desires? For centuries, people have wrestled with the question of whether dreams hold deeper significance or if they're just random, fleeting images in an endless night. Psychologists like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung aim to answer this question, and in doing so, they offered two very different views on what dreams reveal about you. Their work shifted dreams from being purely mystical experiences into tools for self-understanding, each with his distinct interpretation of why you dream and what those dreams mean. Sigmund Freud, often called the founding father of psychoanalysis, believed dreams were windows into the unconscious mind. In his famous book, The Interpretation of Dreams, Freud described dreams as disguised fulfillments of repressed wishes. To Freud, dreams were more than just fragments of thought. They were expressions of hidden desire and emotions, ideas you might not even know you have. During the day, your mind consciously suppresses many of these desires, often because they conflict with social norms or personal values. Dreams, however, allow these repressed thoughts to surface in disguised forms, offering a unique, though indirect, glimpse into the unconscious. Freud's model for understanding dreams breaks them into two layers: manifest content and latent content. The manifest content is the storyline of the dream, what happens on the surface. For example, you might dream about walking down a long hallway, opening doors, or missing a train. It's what you remember when you wake up. But for Freud, the more important part of the dream lies below the surface. That's the latent content, the hidden meaning behind the dream's symbols. The dream about the long hallway might represent something deeper, like an unresolved anxiety about decision-making or fear of opportunities slipping away. This hidden meaning often ties back to primal urges or unresolved internal conflicts. To Freud, almost nothing in a dream was purely literal. If you dream of climbing a mountain, it's probably not about mountains at all. It might symbolize an ambition, a struggle, or even an unfulfilled desire. Even seemingly mundane details could have deeper meanings. A locked door in a dream might represent a repressed memory. Missing a train could reflect feelings of failure or regret. This focus on symbolism is part of what makes Freud's interpretation so distinct. He believed that by analyzing these dream symbols with the technique of free association, where you say whatever comes to mind when you think about specific dream elements, you could uncover their true purpose. It's like peeling back layers to reveal something hidden within yourself. But not everyone agreed with Freud's approach to dreams. Carl Jung, one of Freud's contemporaries and eventually a vocal critic, saw dreams through a very different lens. While Freud placed so much emphasis on repressed desires and the idea of disguise and distortion, Jung believed that dreams were far more straightforward. In Jung's words, dreams do not deceive, lie, distort, or disguise. They announce what they are and what they think. Instead of viewing dreams as veiled expressions of buried conflicts, Jung approached them as honest messages from the unconscious. To him, dreams weren't meant to trick or confuse. They were there to guide, heal, and bring self-awareness. Jung agreed with Freud that dreams reveal parts of the unconscious, but he took it in a different direction. Instead of being all about repressed desires, Jung saw dreams as presenting a bigger picture. He thought dreams were compensatory, meaning they helped balance out your psyche. For example, if your conscious mind ignored or rejected certain aspects of your personality or struggles in waking life, dreams would bring them to light. It's almost as if your dreams are trying to correct course, offering insights you might be missing during the day. Where Freud emphasized conflict between opposing forces in the mind, Jung focused on harmony and balance. Jung's approach to dreams ties into his larger theories about the structure of the psyche. He believed that your mind has both conscious and unconscious parts, and dreams serve as a bridge between the two. More than that,
He proposed that some dreams connect you not just to your personal unconscious, but to something he called the collective unconscious, a shared set of symbols, archetypes, and experiences that transcend individual lives. Symbols like an old wise man, a shadowy figure, or a nurturing mother show up in dreams across cultures, representing universal experiences common to all humanity. These symbols, according to Jung, didn't only come from your personal life. They were ingrained deeply in the human experience. For Jung, understanding dreams involved unpacking these symbols, but not in the way Freud did. Freud's method of free association encouraged the dreamer to quickly say what came to mind about each dream element, building personal meaning. Jung, on the other hand, favored a more expansive method called dream amplification. This technique asks the dreamer to reflect on each part of the dream and explore its broader associations, cultural meanings, myths, even spiritual ideas. For example, in a dream of a snake, Freud might see a personal, specific symbol tied to desires, while Jung might explore the snake as a universal symbol of transformation or rebirth, referencing myths or cultural stories to find its deeper significance. Jung believed that through amplification, a dream could unveil not only what was going on within you, but how that connected to a larger whole. Jung's respect for dreams extended beyond problem-solving or deciphering symbols. He saw dreams as essential tools for growth, self-awareness, and even creativity. Jung believed dreams could inspire new ideas, help you reconnect with lost aspects of yourself, or offer solutions to dilemmas you might not even realize you were struggling with. He saw them as a reflection of your inner world, yes, but also a pathway to achieve psychological balance. It's like your unconscious working to help you become a fuller, more integrated version of yourself. This difference in perspective, the tension between Freud's focus on repressed desires and Jung's belief in dreams as a source of wholeness, highlights a fascinating debate about what dreams are for. Freud's approach painted a picture of the mind as a conflict-ridden space, with dreams acting as secret messengers, trying to smuggle repressed thoughts into the open. Meanwhile, Jung treated the mind as a harmonious system, seeking equilibrium, with dreams offering guidance and clarity. In Freud's framework, the unconscious is something to uncover and fix. In Jung's, it's something to partner with and learn from. While their views differ, both Freud and Jung sparked the idea that dreams could provide real value, offering a middle ground between ancient beliefs in dreams as sacred messages and modern science's focus on mechanics like brain activity. Freud was interested in unlocking the hidden, whereas Jung saw dreams as tools for building connection, not only with yourself, but potentially with humanity as a whole. Together, they elevated the role dreams could play in modern life.
We're more than neural noise, and perhaps something to listen to carefully. So what can we take from their work today? Freud's focus on symbols and hidden meaning might inspire you to think about the specific details in your dreams. Is there a recurring theme or image that keeps showing up? Could it be pointing to something you avoid addressing in waking life? On the other hand, Jung's approach encourages you to think more broadly. What could those symbols mean in the context of a bigger picture? Your life, your culture, or even your spiritual growth. Maybe your dream isn't just some random signal, but offering insight into parts of yourself you've overlooked. It's also worth noting how much these ideas still influence the way people think about dreams. Modern therapy often borrows from both Freud and Jung when using dreams to explore emotions or personal struggles. For example, some therapists focus on analyzing specific symbols, a nod to Freud's work.
while others encourage clients to explore broader themes and intuitive connections, similar to Jung's dream amplification. By combining these approaches, you might start to see your dreams as both revealing hidden truths and offering larger patterns that enrich your understanding of yourself. The contrast between Freud and Jung may feel like a tug-of-war between looking inward at repressed emotions and looking outward to connect to something greater. But perhaps that's exactly why their work remains meaningful. They show that dreams can serve many different purposes, revealing not just secrets or suppressed desires, but helping you grow and create balance in your life. Exploring your dreams doesn't have to mean choosing one perspective over the other. It might mean looking at them as both a reflection of your inner struggles and a guide toward clarity and self-discovery. As you start to think about your own dreams, why they might feel so vivid, strange, or even mysterious, it's worth asking what they could mean for you personally. Do they reflect something you've been pushing aside, as Freud might suggest? Or are they offering a message of encouragement or truth, as Jung's theories propose? Either way, this idea of treating dreams as mirrors of the mind opens up endless possibilities for understanding your inner world and even reshaping your perspective on your waking life. Thinking about dreams as tools for personal exploration brings up an important question. What can we do with them? Can these nightly narratives help us solve real-world problems, face down fears, or even tap into new levels of creativity? The answer, as we'll soon explore, might lie in understanding how dreams function as mental rehearsal spaces, training grounds that prepare us for survival and teach us resilience in ways we might never expect. In waking life, your brain has already run through them, reducing a bit of the unpredictability. Another theory tied to the purpose of dreaming is the role dreams play in processing emotions, especially those linked to fear and trauma. Dreams tap into parts of the brain responsible for processing intense feelings, like the amygdala, which is central to emotional regulation, and the hippocampus, which consolidates memories. During REM sleep, when most vivid dreams occur, these areas stay active, working together to sort through your experiences. Dreams may give you a safe space to revisit difficult or unresolved emotions, releasing some of their intensity without the stress of the real-world consequences those feelings could bring. Think about those times when you've had a stressful day, only to find that the same stress follows you into your dreams. While it may feel like your mind won't let you rest, some researchers believe this process is actually helping you to cope. Your dreams might replay the events in exaggerated or even symbolic ways, giving you a chance to process what happened or what you fear might happen in a different context. For instance, if you've had a disagreement with a close friend, it might show up in your dream as an argument with someone else entirely. The details shift, but the emotional core remains intact, allowing you to work through the lingering feelings in a way your conscious mind might not. This could also explain why some dreams feel so strikingly emotional, even long after we've woken up. The activation of the amygdala during REM sleep heightens those emotions, while the less active prefrontal cortex, the center of rational thinking, steps aside. That combination gives dreams their raw intensity and, at the same time, allows you to explore emotions you might otherwise suppress when awake. It's like your mind is engaging in its own form of therapy while you sleep, helping you process unresolved feelings. Many people also report recurring dreams, often tied to stress or trauma, which could be the brain's way of highlighting issues that need attention. For example, one of the most common recurring scenarios is the sensation of falling, a dream that could represent feelings of being out of control or overwhelmed in waking life. While not pleasant, these repeated dreams may serve a purpose. By confronting similar fears night after night, your brain might be attempting to desensitize you to their emotional impact or help you find ways to manage them. This could lead to greater resilience over time, as your brain takes emotional experiences that once felt overwhelming and slowly absorbs them in a less threatening form. There's also growing research to support the idea that dreams don't just help us process emotional pain, they can help us handle specific memories too. Let's say you recently experienced something challenging, like a public setback or even a frightening accident. Those events are often where the brain's natural ability to process memories intertwines with dreaming. During REM sleep, memories are shuffled and examined, sometimes showing up in connection with older situations you've already worked through. The goal? To help you store those memories in a way that feels more manageable once you wake up. This process, sorting and organizing memories through dreams, may help explain why sleep is so essential after a tough day. People who get less REM sleep often struggle more with processing emotional challenges. Without time to dream, the feelings and memories triggered by difficult experiences might linger longer, unprocessed, and harder to handle the next day. It's yet another way dreams might serve you beyond the surface, giving your mind a chance to recover more fully. Let's look at some examples of common dream scenarios and what they might teach us about this idea of mental rehearsal. Take dreams where you're being chased, a classic scene that most people can recall vividly. On the surface, it's just a stressful story, but on a deeper level, this kind of dream could be your brain's way of sharpening your instincts. Maybe it's practicing an escape route, helping you manage fear, or preparing you for quick thinking if you ever face a high-pressure situation. Similarly, dreams about falling could help you navigate feelings of instability, while dreams about teeth falling out, another common one, might be rooted in subconscious concerns about personal loss or vulnerability. These scenarios each represent universal fears, but they also reflect your ability to think strategically, even while asleep. Your dream self might be rehearsing what choices to make in the face of these figurative or literal threats. If waking life ever threw similar challenges your way, you'd potentially feel better equipped to act, not because you learned a practical skill, but because your brain already imagined the situation in a dream. Dreams seem to organize a remarkable mix of dangers, emotions, and memories, all in a way that might help you survive and thrive in real life. By simulating threats, dreams give you a safe arena to practice handling fear. By replaying emotional experiences, they help you process pain and uncertainty from a distance. And by weaving all of this into unique stories, they leave us with profound insight, even if they sometimes feel bizarre or nonsensical. Considering their potential purpose, it's worth asking how we can better use dreams in our waking lives. If dreams are practicing responses to challenges, maybe we can pay closer attention to the patterns within them. Are certain emotions or themes coming back again and again? What fears, goals, or conflicts might they be highlighting? Dreams may not hand you solutions outright, but they could point toward areas in your life that need reflection or attention. This idea that dreams are nature's way of helping us prepare for the unexpected is empowering when you think about it. Rather than being passive viewers in our sleep, we're actively rehearsing, growing, and learning without even realizing it. That perspective transforms dreams from something to dismiss into something inherently purposeful. As we think about the connections between our emotional lives, memories, and dreams, it becomes clear that these nighttime experiences are more than just mental entertainment. They serve as symbolic mirrors, signaling areas where we need to adapt, heal, or strengthen ourselves. And just like ancient beliefs treated dreams as portals to wisdom and self-discovery, modern insights remind us dreams still carry meanings worth exploring, even when rooted in biology. The next time you wake up from a vivid or stressful dream, consider the possibility that it was trying to prepare you for something, even in its own cryptic, surreal way. And while dreams may feel mysterious, their potential to enhance our resilience and understanding is a reminder that they're more purposeful than they often seem. So what else can they reveal about you? What if the key to understanding ourselves better, to feeling more connected and at peace, has been quietly unfolding each night while we dream? For most of history, dreams were treated as a vital part of life, guiding decisions, helping people heal, even offering clarity in moments of confusion. Ancient cultures believed that dreams connected us with something larger than ourselves, whether it was divine wisdom, ancestral knowledge, or the unfolding patterns of the universe. But today, in a society driven by constant activity and external stimuli, most of us barely pay attention to what our dreams might be saying. And maybe, in doing so, we're missing an opportunity to reconnect with something meaningful. Take a moment to think about how fast-paced and fragmented life can feel. Modern stressors, endless notifications, the constant pull of responsibilities, and the pressure to always be on leave little room for slowing down and listening to what's happening inside. In ancient times, dreams were a chance to pause, reflect, and find guidance. They were more than strange stories that drifted away with the sunrise. They were tools for understanding life's challenges and mysteries. A dream journal works by capturing those fleeting details right when you wake up, before your busy, waking mind rushes to push them aside. It's as simple as keeping a notebook by your bed. So as soon as you open your eyes, you can jot down anything you remember, the setting, the people, objects that stood out, and even the emotions you felt during the dream. These small details might not make sense right away, but over time, a journal helps you see patterns. Maybe you'll notice recurring symbols or themes that point to something meaningful in your life. Think of it this way. Dreams can be incredibly easy to forget, fading within moments of waking. Recording them, even if it's just a fragment, makes it easier to reflect later. One person shared how simply writing down their dreams each morning helped them work through anxiety. By noticing recurring themes of trying to escape in their dreams, they realized they felt trapped in real life by a job they no longer enjoyed. That insight didn't just come out of nowhere. It came from the act of noticing, from paying attention when otherwise they might not have. Once you've begun recording your dreams, another useful approach is mindful reflection. This means thinking about your dreams in the context of your daily life, what you've been experiencing emotionally, mentally, or even physically. For instance, a recurring dream about losing control of a car might not literally be about driving. Instead, it could represent how you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure about a specific area of your life. Mindful reflection isn't about finding one clear answer. It's about exploring possibilities and seeing which ones resonate with you. One helpful method is to sit quietly, turn over the images from your dream in your mind, and ask yourself what emotions they bring up. These emotions often hold the key to understanding the dream's deeper meaning. You can also take inspiration from ancient rituals by creating a peaceful nighttime routine to enhance your connection to dreams. Many ancient cultures believed that preparing the body and mind for sleep was as important as the dreams themselves. While they used activities like offerings or prayers, today this could mean something as simple as setting aside devices, dimming the lights, and spending a few minutes in mindful relaxation. Some people find light stretching or deep breathing helpful, as it calms the body and prepares the mind for rest. The goal is to shift from the fast-paced energy of the day into something softer, quieter, a state that welcomes sleep and dreams. Creating a calming bedtime environment can also make a big difference. You don't need a perfectly curated space, but small changes go a long way. Keep the room dark and quiet, minimize clutter, and make your bed comfortable enough that sleep feels inviting. These subtle adjustments mirror the intention of ancient temple spaces, like the dream temples of Egypt, which were crafted to remove distractions and allow the dreamer to focus inward. You're creating your own version of that, a space where your dreams feel like they matter. But even with preparation and mindfulness, dream interpretation doesn't always come easily. That's why another technique, inspired by Carl Jung's methods, can be so effective. Free associations. This means picking an image or element from your dream, maybe a tree, a staircase, or a specific feeling, and writing down or thinking about every connection that comes to mind. Don't overthink it. Let your thoughts flow. For instance, a dream about walking across a bridge might make you think of changes or transitions in your life. The key is not to consult generic interpretations, like what a symbol should mean. Instead, focus on what it means to you specifically. A bridge could mean something entirely different to someone else, depending on their experiences. Stories of people gaining clarity through dreaming aren't as rare as you might think. One person recalled having a recurring dream about being surrounded by doors, but being unable to open any of them. At first, they thought it was meaningless frustration. But as they began looking at the dream with mindfulness and journaling, they realized it reflected their fear of making a big decision in their waking life, a career change they had been avoiding. Once they made the connection, the dream shifted. In the next dream, they finally found a door they could open. These practices aren't just about finding meaning. They can also bring a sense of peace. In a world filled with pressures and distractions, simply taking time to reflect on your dreams fosters a kind of self-awareness that many of us are missing. Think about how often we focus outward, on screens, responsibilities, or conversations. Dreams offer a rare chance to look inward. They remind us to consider what we're feeling, what we've been holding on to, and what might need our attention. By drawing from ancient practices, we can reclaim some of this wisdom without needing to fully recreate the rituals of the past. Dream journaling, mindful reflection, and sleep with intention are ways to modernize what many ancient cultures already understood, that dreams serve an important purpose, one that goes beyond entertainment or randomness. These small steps create a bridge between the conscious and subconscious, helping us access insights that might otherwise go unnoticed. For those who feel disconnected from their dreams, or doubt their importance, it's worth questioning why we dream at all. Why do we have such vivid, sometimes emotional, experiences during sleep? Science explains how dreams work, but not always why they feel so significant to us. Ancient cultures answered that question by treating dreams as purposeful, a way to connect with forces beyond the surface of everyday life. Rediscovering that belief, even in a modern way, can transform how we think about sleep and personal growth. Of course, this process isn't about interpreting every dream as if it holds an earth-shattering message, but it does raise the question, what might your dreams be trying to tell you? Are they helping you process lingering emotions, highlighting fears you've been avoiding, offering creative solutions to challenges you're facing? Even the act of thinking about these questions can change your relationship with sleep, making it a space where you feel more calm and grounded. The beauty of this approach is that it's accessible. You don't need a deep knowledge of ancient traditions to start exploring your dreams. You need only curiosity and the willingness to pay attention. Once you do, you might notice subtle but meaningful changes. Reflecting on dreams can bring clarity to complicated feelings, make daily stress feel more manageable, and even unlock unexpected ideas or perspectives. It's a practice grounded as much in self-discovery as it is in fostering peace. Reclaiming the wisdom that ancient civilizations shared about dreams gives us a chance to bring balance to modern life. By tuning back into something as simple yet profound as dreaming, you're shifting the way you engage with yourself. Think of it as an act of self-care, one that reconnects you with the deeper parts of your mind. Remember, dreams aren't just a quirky side effect of sleep. They're an essential part of being human. Ancient cultures saw this clearly, and maybe they were onto something. As you reflect on your own dreams and take steps to connect with them, you might find yourself appreciating not only the mystery of sleep, but the wisdom and clarity it quietly offers. And who knows, your best insights might come when you're not even awake. Dreams have always been more than just fleeting images. They hold the power to connect us with deeper truths about ourselves and our world. Ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and Greeks embraced dreams as sacred tools for guidance and healing, while indigenous cultures viewed them as the very foundation of reality. Even today, exploring dreams offers a chance to rediscover forgotten insights and build self-awareness. Start with curiosity. Write them down, reflect on recurring themes, or simply allow yourself to embrace their mystery. Each night, your mind weaves stories unique to you, and those stories might hold more meaning than you realize.